Friday pre-show, which means we have a big day of news. Friday is always fun here at the Damage Report, even if the news isn't always. And I'm going to be doing the main show, the Power Panel, with Cenk Uygur once again back in the studio. But it also means that it's the end of the week. We've got the weekend coming. Do you have any big plans? Do you have anything fun on offer? I have somehow, through no effort of my own, accrued a lot of new board games. So I'm very much looking forward to trying out one or two at some point this weekend. And I got to work out tomorrow morning. That's going to be a little bit rough. So good news and bad news entering into the weekend. But thank you to everybody who is already here and the like 2/3 of you who've hit the like button already. For some reason, and I guess it's not too surprising, the people who are here first are also the most dedicated to hitting the like button. So thank you very much for that. And by doing that, more people will know that we're live and we can get more people in and everything. So welcome. Today on the show, we've got an interesting show. We're going to be talking a little bit about impeachment, but not a ton. I've expressed a lot of my thoughts. We're going to do a little bit of sum up of the, I guess, the prosecution side. What the defense does, we're going to mostly probably talk about a little bit later on the Young Turks. By then, we'll have seen some of that, but we don't really have that yet. But let's see. We've got a lot of garbage, multiple garbage people. We're going to get to Dave Ramsey's clip from yesterday, just abhorrent. People trying to rewrite what they were doing during the Trump years. We knew that it was coming. Well, now we're here, and we're going to evaluate in real time what we think about that and how successful it's likely to be. And then also quite a bit of news on the coronavirus. So all that coming up on the full Damage Report. Joe Willis says, Graham, Cruz, and Lee aren't even pretending to be impartial jurors. In what court case is the jury allowed to meet with the defendant's legal team? Joe, right there with you, and we will be talking about that on the full show. But I also have about a billion little stories I want to comment on. No massive ones. It's not that sort of pre-show. But I just want to briefly go over a few of these little things, like the fact that I hadn't actually known this consciously, I guess. But in addition to the president having that nuclear football, the vice president has a backup one as well, which means that he had it when he was being hunted down in the Capitol building, which means that had they been able to get him, in addition to likely executing the vice president, they could have also gotten the nuclear football. Now, that does not mean that they would have been able to launch nukes or anything like that. That's not how it works. It's not that simple. But apparently, inside of the nuclear football, they not only have the equipment necessary to launch nuclear weapons, they also have pre-planned nuclear strike options. And in theory, if they had gotten into it, they would have had access to that intelligence. That could have then been shared, probably live on Parler or something like that. And obviously, they're saying that would be a big security breach, and of course it would be, but I don't know, aren't you curious? What the hell do they have in that thing? What are these pre-planned nuclear strike options? Is it all just a holdover from the Cold War? Is it just here's where we'd strike in Russia? Is China on there? How much is in there? How many different countries do they have a plan for a nuclear strike against? It's fascinating, fascinating. And what scenarios have they sketched out answers to in there? Anyway, I'm glad that we didn't find out because I don't want those monsters actually getting access to it, but it does make one wonder what we could have found out had we gotten it. Bianca, welcome to Tier 1 YouTube membership. Hope you enjoy not only the emojis, but also the new badges. So if you weren't here yesterday for the show, as of now, the badges that show how long you've been a YouTube member have been updated. So as soon as you sign up, you get a little dragon egg. After a month, a little head pops out, and then the longer you stay on, up until about, I think something like 2 years, you'll eventually get better and better badges, basically, to show how long you've been a part of the community. Rosina, thank you for that happy birthday to my wife. We had a great birthday celebration yesterday for her. That is seriously the best color John can wear. It's just this is one of the oldest pieces of clothing I have. It's not the oldest, but it's one of the oldest. I actually bought this back when I was in undergrad. And the weird thing is, it feels new. Like, you know how clothing can get like a little bit hard or rough or just doesn't feel quite the same? This feels pretty much exactly like it did. Maybe the badge is a little bit worse. They have a new That's not even what it looks like at UConn anymore, but it was a good buy. I didn't know at the time how good of a buy it was. Okay, very briefly, and we're sort of working up with stories that they're interesting, but they're not super important. I've got one for you there. We've been wondering, what is Trump doing during all of this? Well, we're not going to talk about that right now. But what is Melania Trump doing all of this? I barely care, but we did get a little bit of information from Mar-a-Lago. She apparently is, let's see, she's spending her time spending hours a day at the private spa, sometimes going twice in a 24-hour period for massages, nail care, facial treatments, or other items on the menu. And obviously, look, first of all, that's totally her right. If she wants to do that, they own the business. She can do whatever she wants. But like, if you went for a couple of hours, and then later on that day you went for a couple of hours, you get a massage, you get your nails done, you get a facial or whatever, what are you doing the next day when you go there? Okay, maybe you're getting another massage, sure. But then what are you doing the next day when you go there? You're getting your nails done again? Your nails are good. Like, you had the facial. Can you even get a facial multiple days in a row? What are you doing there multiple days? I don't know. Maybe it's like a private gym. Maybe she's working out or sitting in the sauna. I don't know. But that just sounds like a lot of time. Anyway, she apparently isn't a big fan of Jill Biden, the positive attention she's getting. And honestly, that's about as much as I care about the entire thing. She was awful. She was an enabler for Donald Trump. And if she's, you know, as she dwells in absolute luxury, she's jealous of Jill Biden. Good. I hope it sucks. I don't see why it would. I don't see why that would bother you. But if it does, good. You're a bad person. You're part of a terrible political dynasty. Okay. Let's see. Another story. I am barely going to mention this. If you thought that this was going to be a big thing we're going to do on the show, it is not. Unless it's Brett's Garbage Person, which I don't pre-screen and I don't know what it is. The Marjorie Greene tantric sex stuff, I barely care. First of all, I barely care because I already knew about it. Was it not public knowledge before that story came out? Like, it had been bubbling up, these affairs and all of that. It really, like, of all of the things that she's done, the affairs are by far the least actually related to her politics compared to the conspiracy theorizing and everything. Like, it has far less to do, I think, with any damage she would do as a legislator. The only thing that I think is worth potentially mentioning is this is a person that uses their religion as a weapon. That says, because I have family values, I get to say what you and your family get to do. And very directly, more so than most religious people. When you are traveling across the country to go to the swearing in for some Muslim representatives to say that they have to swear in on the Bible, and then you're having multiple open affairs with tantric sex people and CrossFit guys, well, it seems to me that your religion is much more about other people's families' values and much less about your family values. And the thing is, it's one of the reasons why I barely care about this. That's not new. It's not like, oh my God, are Christian politicians being hypocritical about their religious beliefs? But I think it's important that people know that she's hypocritical. Beyond that, the sex and stuff, I understand it's salacious or whatever. That's why people are talking about it. But I really don't care about that in comparison to all of the other things that she's said and done. It barely even merits. Okay. Gani says, after a year of being paranoid, levels of careful, my sister gave me COVID. So frustrated today. John, TDR is my comfort watch right now. I'm so sorry to hear that. Oh, God. So careful for so long, and it can still get you. It's a reminder to all of us. Courtney says, buenos dias. Random question. Have you heard YouTube channel Shark? It's Animal Lover meets Fighting Corruption. Have a lovely weekend. I have not. I've heard of Baby Shark on YouTube, but I have not heard of Shark. I will look it up, though. I'll join when you get an Ida and Anna emoji. That's a good point. We do need those. Amongst others, there's a lot that we need. Yeah, everyone, I see people saying, watch an alien documentary with Ben Mank yesterday. What? What's the alien documentary? Is it about the movie Alien? Huh. Okay, I see a lot of Johnny Bananas in the chat today. Matt says, who cares who she Fs? Exactly. Like, I don't care. I care who she stalks in the Capitol, what, like, gun activists she stalks. I care about that. DDM Star says, good morning, Dragon Daddy. Dakota Dragon here. I'm wearing my new Dragon Squad t-shirt. Thank you for that. That's awesome. I'm wearing underneath this a Fight Milk shirt. Nicole Nowicki says, John, my daughter just heard you say Baby Shark and started singing at the horror. It's catchy, man. It's catchy. Carla says, I looked up your wife since everyone was talking about her. She's gorgeous. Happy birthday from Pflugerville. She is very gorgeous. Thank you. Thank you for that. That's very nice of you. And hello to Pflugerville. I used to spend a little bit of time in Pflugerville. Let's see. Also get an Emma jersey one, too. I don't think we're going to have an Emma jersey one. I think the fact that I have Emma's jersey is probably enough. We got to eventually hang it. There's no one here to coordinate decorations or anything. I think that would seem a bit stalkerish, where I make the emoji. Rosalind says, okay, but I feel like Jenk should just draw all the stickers from now on. I think he should, every week, he should make at least one emoji for us. I think that's definitely true. Oh, really fast, super fast. Add this on to, we've been doing stories pretty much every week about attempts to limit voting rights going forward, especially considering what happened this election, and especially in Georgia, where they were so successful in getting more people to vote. Well, Georgia officials are investigating groups that mobilized the black vote. So a couple groups like the New Georgia Project, founded by Stacey Abrams back in 2014, as well as others, are now being investigated. For what? Because they mobilized black voters. That's why they're being investigated. That is like the ultimate crime from the point of view of the right. Yes, the doc is about the movie. Very good. That sounds great, actually. I really do like Alien. It's one of the things that role-playing game-wise I've thought about potentially trying to run something in the Alien universe. I think that would be fun. Ravaging Wolverine says, OMG, John interacted with his green screen. What sorcery is this? Yes, I know. The Dayman says, you know I have to ask to see the Fight Milk shirt. Well, you know what it looks like if you've seen Fight Milk. I can only show a bit, but Fight Milk. I'm going to wear it on the show and see if I get in trouble. Rebecca says, just found out I didn't get the job I'd interviewed for twice after months of being jobless. I feel down, but TDR always perks me up. Have some cash. Rebecca, I'm sorry about that. I'm sure something good is going to come your way. Thanks for watching. Sorry. And especially getting your hopes up over a while. That sucks. Glory Days Dragon says, I hope one of the strategic nukes targets is that annoying ice cream van that drives past my house every day. I've never found them to be particularly annoying. Realan says, Dragon Daddy Jeans, good luck with the workout. Thank you. Thank you. D. Keller says, Alien RPG is out, John. Oh, I know. I have it. I did get it, yes. And the really funny thing was, a watch of Alien a couple of years ago led me to think, wow, you know, why don't role-playing games have more, like, people who have secrets? It might not be working 100% together, and I thought maybe I should try to make one. And that day they announced that Free League RPG. It was a very weird coincidence. Guapo Dragon says, John, where is your Dragon Daddy mug? And we don't see the Cascadia flag behind you. Well, you can see it. It's right over there, actually. It's little, where? There? There. You can see it. My mug actually is in, like, I use like 3 different mugs simultaneously, but I do have it for the show. Okay. We do a little bit of like trying to use less dishes and things like that. Not that there's many people here, but less touching the same thing, just for safety. Okay, so can I tell you the story that bothers me the most? It's the headline story for today, and it has to do with police brutality. So last year, during the BLM protests and all of that, I mean, we showed you, I can't even tell you how many just horrendous instances of police brutality, of cops just bludgeoning people, hitting them with bicycles, trying to run them down with their cars, all of that. And there were a lot of bad ones, and in the end, for the most part, the cops ended up being perfectly fine after all of this. Now, there were a couple of instances where you really kind of, like, I'll only speak for myself, I won't speak for you, but really kind of felt like they've got to do something about this. Come on, it's too obvious. And one of those involved the attack against protester Martin Gugino. So, if you don't remember this, obviously we can't play the video right now, but this is in Buffalo City Hall last June, and you've probably seen it. He's standing protesting. a line of cops in like riot equipment are walking towards him. It's full daylight, there's nothing crazy going on. And he starts to back up, and they push him, and he falls down, cracks his head open, and a pool of blood starts to form around his head. It was one of the most casually brutal and thus horrific videos of all of that. It wasn't like the sheer most violent, you know, like the running into people with your SUV and everything is more immediate murderous. But it was so, this is an old man, 75 years old, and they cared so little about him that, how dare you get in my way? And they push him down. And then his head cracks open, and they don't even seem to notice or care. Like, they don't. They put out a statement, by the way, the police saying he tripped and fell. Now, thankfully, video eventually came out, and so it was clear that they were lying there. But then even after that, you have to say, well, this very clear video where they injured him there and it didn't seem to care, he could be dying right then. Something has to be done. Now, the district attorney did charge them with assault, saying they crossed the line and violated the law. Under New York law, a person who attacks someone 65 or older and is more than 10 years younger than the victim can be charged with felony assault. Now, you might recall that in response to those charges, their entire unit of 57 officers quit. I assume most of them went back eventually, but they did quit. And unfortunately, a grand jury, because that investigation continued, has decided not to indict them. That's it. They were briefly suspended. They pled not guilty, by the way, even though they did it. It's on video that they did it, but they pled not guilty. And it was wise of them, because in the end, they're going to be fine. And it was a grand jury, so we don't know who they brought in. We don't know what they told them. We know that in the past, in these situations, they've lied to the people on the grand jury about sort of obligations and what standards are and those sorts of things. But we don't know, and we will likely never know what was actually told to them. What we do know is that the cops who did this are going to walk, and they're perfectly fine. There are so few consequences for anything that happened yesterday in relation to those protests, the police brutality, all of that. And again, this is just one case, but the argument against those protests was, this isn't a culture of police brutality. This isn't a culture of cops getting away with anything or feeling free to brutalize people. But that's what we're seeing. That's exactly what it was. They felt free to do it. The entire group stuck with them. Those people quit and then protested when there were charges, and now they're going to be perfectly fine. It's perfect case study after perfect case study. And it did convince some people. I'm not going to do the thing I normally say where I say and it changed nobody's mind. Some people's minds were changed, both about BLM and about the police. It's just not nearly enough. Not nearly enough. David O'Neill says that he got his second Moderna shot yesterday, spent 12 plus hours with achy, shaky, flu-like symptoms. Means it's working. Yeah, you can have symptoms like that, but I'm glad that you got the shot. As many of you as possible. Gary Does Stuff says, but John, where's the UT gear? Did my master's there as well? Hook 'em. I don't have any UT gear. My wife has a hat that I've worn once or twice. I used to have, I had this shirt. If they ever sell this again and somebody wanted to send a large to me, I would love it. I had a black shirt with just silver, the horns. I love that shirt. And it's one of those things where you just realize, wait, what happened to that shirt? Loved it. Don't know where it is. Don't know where I left it or whatever. But anyway, I don't have much gear, if any. Marissa says, hey, John, it's my son's 10th birthday today, and he asked me to send a super chat. Also, happy birthday to you and your wife. Hayden really enjoys the Garbage People segments. Have a great weekend. Happy birthday, Hayden. Thank you for the super chat. We're going to be doing Garbage People later on today. Actually, you can't see it, but the paper that I throw into Garbage People, I have printed out, and it's right there. And so really excited for that. Top 10 solo board games list. I don't generally play solo board games. That's the problem. I could list board games that I've heard are very good, or games that I like that have solo modes, but I don't normally play solo board games. Misanthropist, aka Satanic Dragon, says, hey John, thanks for the butt shot. Next emoji. I'm never getting up on the show again. I already regret it. Wayne says, who would you want to be in the Alien universe? Probably one of the cyborgs. Or I should say androids. think I'd go for Android. Mark says, hi, John. Twitch is better than YouTube. That is all. Well, I mean, you can use either. Like, that's the cool thing, is that you're able to do whatever you want. Luis says, those cops walking away without indictment reminds me of Malheur Wildlife Refuge in Oregon, 2014. Well, it reminds me of a lot of instances of basically the exact same thing happening. TDB, welcome to Tier 1 membership. Love your little dragon egg. Zombie says, Trump's defense team stated you cannot use reported information. It is over. Dems lost despite the reported info is true. I'm going to have to look that up. I don't know specifically what that's a reference to. Okay, so really fast. Two other stories. I'm just going to briefly mention it because we are getting on and I do have more prep to do. But one is this story, which I'm assuming we're going to talk about on the first hour, about TJ Ducklo threatening Tara Palmieri over his reporting or asking questions about his relationship with political reporter from Axios, Alexei McCammond, is just crazy. You know, I don't often have any relationship to any of this. Alexei McCammond back in the day used to be on the Damage Report a little bit. She has nothing to do with this as far as I can tell. But TJ Ducklo, the guy that she's dating, the White House deputy press secretary, told the reporter, Palmieri, I will destroy you if you report on this. By the way, she didn't pick up the story. She was given the story to do. He made derogatory, misogynistic comments to her, said that she was jealous because of something about her sexual history. She was just jealous of McCammond, and that he would destroy her. Yeah, that guy has to be fired. He needs to be fired because you cannot be a deputy press secretary and be threatening to destroy the reputation of reporters who are asking very simple questions about the relationship that you are actually in that raises ethical concerns, or did until McCammond isn't going to be reporting on it anymore. Yeah, no, you can't do that. This is straight out of the Trump White House, and we would be just as critical of them in the Trump White House. You can't do this. You gotta go, TJ. Anyway, and then the last thing is Kristen Sinema has joined Joe Manchin in opposing $15 minimum wage being in the COVID aid bill. We are always only going to be as good and as progressive as the worst of us, because people like Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin can hold back progress. And I feel like I need to start to join, I think, an increasing number of people who maybe we're focusing too much on Joe Manchin, because Joe Manchin is going to Joe Manchin. I feel like we've known for a very long time who he is, but Kristen Sinema, she's seemingly just as bad. She doesn't want to end the filibuster either. She thinks we need to reestablish the 60-vote threshold, which that's not what the filibuster is supposed to be, this automatic idea that every piece of legislation needs to have 60 votes. Needing majority support is a standard. How is that inferior necessarily, philosophically, ideologically? But anyway, we'll probably be talking more about this on the main show as well. Just so frustrating going into the day, knowing that Kristen Sinema thinks that, you know, the pandemic, workers and all that. I know I'm a Democrat and we won and everything, but fuck it. I'm going to let the Republican position stand. Bernie Hard Dragon says, my kid is homesick watching pony shows, so I get to watch you and not the impeachment defense because, well, we're going to have to check in, at least a little bit. Silver Dragon says, missed you guys, but addicted to impeachment. I understand. Peter Gretsch says, hey, John, Washington is really out of control. We need financial help every month, and it's really upsetting me. I'm so tired of them toying with us. Yeah, 100%. And then Kristen Sinema thinking, like, well, let's do aid, but, like, not like something, like, long-lasting. Just something that's, like, right now. I don't want to, like, set the precedent that the government actually cares about the working class. Chubtoad says, I thought real change would happen from last year. Now it is just the same. Really tired of this existence. Well, but, Chubtoad, let's not go too far. She's going to, like, there wouldn't be a bill. If Georgia hadn't gone the right way, if Trump hadn't lost, there would be no bill at all. And Biden has done plenty of good things. Like, we are going to be balanced, you know? And by that, I don't mean our commitment is presenting everything as exactly the same. I mean, we're going to have our eyes open. We're going to have our ears prepared. And when there's good news, we're going to report it. When there's bad news, we're going to report it. I don't owe anything to Joe Biden. He ain't my uncle. But I also don't think that I need to convince you that everything about Joe Biden and the Democrats is absolutely the worst so that you'll keep giving me Patreon dollars or whatever. So we're going to maintain the rational position. That's the one that I've tried to stake out, and I'm going to stick with that. Stefan says, did we hit the goal of 50 new subs yesterday? I don't believe we did. I think we hit 40, though. And honestly, that's pretty good. Thank you to everybody who's become a member. We're going to keep trying to give you, a little bit extra to make it worth your while, and we really do appreciate the support. Maybe we'll hit 50 total by the end of today. bbush8, welcome to Tier 2 membership. Enjoy this top 10 list. By the way, if you become a Tier 3 member, every month we do a live Q&A where you can ask questions and I'll interact with you and all of that. That is going to be coming up next week. Bruce Davis says that he's new to the channel. Hello, Bruce Davis. Thank you for watching. So that's going to be coming up if you're interested. Marianne says, Dragon Family and John, my son was diagnosed with cancer today. He is 25 years old. Please pray for him to whatever God you believe in. Really sorry to hear that. So sorry to hear that. Devastating. And especially in this time. I'm sorry. Okay, people are reminding me that I do have to check the clock. Thank you, everybody, for joining me for the pre-show. Brett is going to be joining me for the full Damage Report show coming up very soon. We're going to be throwing some people in the trash. You know that's going to be fun. So I've got my coffee. I'm going to be transferring it to a TDR mug. But go get yourself something. Get caffeinated. It's going to be a big day. You're going to want to be prepared for it. I'll talk to you soon.